Hello and welcome to another edition of Ask AdFed, where we're attempting to connect students' questions with expert answers. My name is John Allen, and I'm sitting today with Ruth Paarmann from Paarlance Creative Writing. And she's been freelancing since 2002, right?
15 years.
Yep, so 15 years. And I received a question from David at Kirkwood Community College, and he was asking about, he was interested in knowing more about the pros and cons to being a freelance creative writer, and just being a creative in general.
Right. Well, after 15 years, so you get to know some of those pros and cons pretty well. One of the big pros is obviously you kind of get to set your own schedule. You can work weekends if you want, and sometimes you have to because it's all up to you. So it's a pro and a con. A lot of the aspects that are really strong pro are also a con in some way. One of the big cons with freelancing for me mentally is that there is no paid vacation. You're creating this all yourself, which is a huge pro, but it's also a con when it comes to vacation because that time you take off is not billable, and therefore it's all up to you. You have to kind of make up for that in advance and after the fact. So that's a huge one, and I do admit to getting a little bit jealous of people that have jobs because they can, they get 3 weeks of paid vacation. And when I hear about that, that's when I'm like, yeah. But I have a lot of flexibility, which is a huge advantage. So I can, work during the weekdays or not, or I can, take time with my family on a weekday. But then, of course, I kind of have to make up for that on another day. And sometimes that means I push into the weekend. So your schedule is really flexible, but also you have to have that billable time. For me personally, because I am kind of self-driven, it's not for everyone. I always tell people that. And that's neither a pro or con, but it's just, to me, take stock of your skills and your drive, because you're going to need certain skills and a certain amount of drive to be successful on your own.
Yeah, when did you feel like you hit kind of the, not so much the plateau, but like when did you really feel like your business was taking off?
It took a good couple of years. Like 2 years in, I felt a lot more comfortable about what I was doing. I also had the advantage, which not everyone has, of having a spouse that had a regular position. And so that was available as a cushion.
Right.
Which not everyone has. So, if you're thinking about jumping into it from a position where you have, a regular paycheck and stuff, think long and hard about that, because I feel like you should have something going before you make that leap.
Right. So when you think about your daily work life and being a freelancer, obviously you don't have a lot of coworkers around. But do you find ways to collaborate with others, or what does kind of collaboration look like in your creative process?
Well, it's a lot of phone conversations. I have clients in the Twin Cities. I have a client in Southern Illinois and Australia have been clients. So a lot of it is just being comfortable talking on the phone and, joining in on conference calls, kickoff calls, and things like that. That's probably a good portion of how I do business is on the phone. And then on the other side of it, I do have local clients as well. So in that regard, I get to collaborate with graphic designers locally and have much more of a, an in-person relationship with them and with these local clients. So that's really great too. And I love that because working for yourself out of your home like I do, I don't have coworkers sitting next to me. So I need that interaction with people. And I find ways to also, make that happen. So that's kind of a disadvantage too, is that you don't have the coworkers, so you kind of have to create your own network of people.
Right.
And AdFed has been a huge part of that for me. And especially back when we had luncheons, that was, everybody has to eat lunch. I mean, I do anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just one of those people. And so it was always a great, thing to not only get to have lunch and to learn something from the program, but to network with other people and, you know, have that camaraderie.
Yeah, that's really good. How would you advise someone who's maybe thinking about freelance work and they're in school right now?
Well, I mean, I'd be one to be very cautious about advising that someone start freelancing right out of school, and rely on that for their living, because I think that's a tough road to go for a couple years. Really building a business, it can be very difficult. If I'm talking to someone who's in school right now, in saying maybe consider, you know, finding a job when you can, which obviously is not a given, right. and then also looking at opportunities that might be out there for freelancing, right. You know, because there are opportunities out there, especially for someone starting out, when they can charge less than established agencies and individual freelancers.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, but again, it's not for everyone, and there has to be a certain level of internal drive.
Cool. Very good. Well, thanks again, Ruth, for joining us today. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach me by sending your email with your question and your name and the school that you're attending to the email listed below. Thanks.
Thank you.